Hey everyone, this is Brenda from Stamplicity and welcome to Fun Friday. All right, today we're going to explore or show you how the little Dress My Craft spinners are. All right, not sure if you saw this. It is a new product that we just got in, and I'm going to do a couple of cards. We're going to go over these wonderful little spinners. Now I'm just going to switch the camera down so you can kind of see what these are. So give me 1 second. All right, there we go. All right, so these are the spinners from Dress My Craft. All right, there are two sizes, the large size, and I know I have different colors there. That doesn't matter. So we have the large size, and then we have what is called the nano spinners. All right, so these are the regular Dress My Craft spinners, and these are the nano spinners. So one is more or less for smaller elements, and one is for larger elements. All right. Now, what these are, and I'm going to hold this up maybe with a pair of tweezers. The big ones I'm okay with. But I'm going to hold them up with a pair of tweezers. So on one side here, there we go. On the one side here is the spinning mechanism, and that's what's going to, this one here, this side here, and that is what is going to stick onto your card base. And then the element that's going to spin is going to stick on the top here, all right? And they spin quite nicely. Really good rotation on them. They spin really quickly, and you'll see that when we get that onto our card front. All right. So that's the regular spinner. This nano spinners are so tiny. All right. There we go. All right. They are the same way. They are made out of stainless steel and they rotate really well as well. And they're just for smaller elements. All right. So we're going to show you both of them. They're pretty fun to use. They just make a little fun little interactive element on the front of cards, in your journals, on your layouts, or any project. And let's just see how they work. All right. So we're going to create two cards today, one using the nano spinner and one using the regular spinner. We're going to start with the nano spinner first. And the day that I'm recording this, it is blustery out there. It's crazy. I decided to stay in and craft today because there's no way I was going out in that weather. So I just found it, I thought it would be appropriate that we should do a snow card. It is still January. And we're still going to get some more snow. So I'm going to do one that is snowflake related. All right. So I've already done a little bit of prep work, and I kind of got colored picked my color scheme here. So we're working with snowflakes, so I just thought, white, silver, blue is going to work. And I've die cut some snowflakes out of. Now, this is just something I had in my collection, snowflakes. There's lots of snowflake dies out there. We can help you out if you're looking for one. But this is just the one I had that I just pulled from my stash and I die cut some out, all right? So we're gonna get started on just making the card base. We're gonna make this as a really simple one. I don't have a sentiment picked out for this yet, but I will. So we're going to leave room for that. But basically, I have an A2 panel in a really lovely blue. This is called Windy from Spellbinders. All right, so it's a really nice blue. This is an A2 panel. It's 4¼ by 5½. Then I have my silver panel, and this is where I cut my silver snowflakes from. I just did them in the middle because I knew this was going to be a panel. So why waste all that real estate in the center here? We might as well use it. It's going to be covered, right? So I cut that at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So we're just going to have a little bit of that blue showing. And then I have a piece of white cardstock that I cut 4 by 4¼ So we're just going to have little slivers of those mats showing. All right. And then I also have a little rectangle. This was in my stash. It was just from something else, but I like the rounded corners on here. So we're going to round all the corners on here as well on my card front. And that's in the Windy as well. And that's going to go in the center of our card. Now, before I start attaching all of this, I thought maybe we should add a little bit of texture onto that white. And we're going to emboss it with one of my favorite embossing folders. And that is Flurry of Snowflakes. All right. So we're going to go ahead and emboss that. All right, so let's just go through a 3D embossing folder. It's best if you spritz your paper, both sides. That helps loosen the threads of the paper, helps it stretch, and you're going to get a much better impression when you do that. So I'm just going to grab my water bottle, which is nearly empty. I'm going to spritz it on the front and the back. I am going to do it off camera so I don't get my workspace with the overspray. And then I'm going to place it in my folder, and then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. Okay, so I did it twice on each side just because my spritzer is almost empty. So, all right, so I put that in there, and now I'm going to run that through. Now my die cut machine is just to the left here, so you're going to hear it. You just won't see me do it. And I'm going to go forward and backwards to really make sure that design is pressed in lovely. All right, and let's take a look. Ta-da! Look how pretty that is. It's so gorgeous. All right, so that is adding a little texture. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round the corners on this just to match my little panel that I took from my stash. All right, so I'm just using a corner rounder here. There are different ones out on the market. This one here, I don't think is no longer available. It's from We Are Memory Keepers. I'm not sure. But Uniquely Creative has one just like this. It has the 3 different radiuses on there. So you can have kind of a shorter one and then a really wide one. All right. So, I mean, a narrow one and then a wide one. So, and then one in between. So I'm just going to do all 4 corners of this. And then I'm also going to do the other panels as well. Now, when I use a punch, I always go upside down. I have my good side flipped down. So I have the wrong side up, and then I'm able to see that I'm getting that corner right into that punch. All right. So this way I have perfect lineup and no mispunched. All right. So I always look at the bottom of my punch. All right. Did we get that one? Yeah. All right. And now we'll do the last one. So these little spinners are really hot right now. We were waiting for months. I had them on pre-order forever. They kind of like enticed us back last year, I think in July, and we've been waiting patiently for them to come in. So they're finally in and really, really fun. All right, I'm going to piece these all together. So I am just going to layer all these layers together, and I'm just going to use my tape runner. All right. So again, no one is going to see those die cuts underneath there because it's going to be covered by this panel. So just a great way to get more use out of your paper. All right, so that's going to go on like so. Especially when it's specialty paper like that. Regular cardstock, I'm not too concerned about. When it's specialty paper, I like to get the most out of it. So you'll see me always die cutting in the center. All right, so now we've got all our layers on. All right, so there is our card front. And then this one here, I am going to push it up a little bit because I do want to put a sentiment here. Or do I want to center it? Oh, the decisions. I don't know what sentiment I'm going to put on. So I'm going to push it up a little bit. I am going to pop this up. So I'm going to grab my foam adhesives and let's just pop this up. And then our card base is ready to go. And then we're going to talk about those little spinners, those nano spinners. All right, so let's center this. Looks good. All right. So there we go. There is our card front. All right. And I will make sure I get a little sentiment on there, let it snow or something like that. I'll find something. All right. So there is that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my silver snowflakes, and I cut 2 of them, and I'm going to place them on the left and the right hand side, leaving the center open. All right. Because we're going to put the white snowflake in the center with the nano spinner on there. So I'm going to just glue these down flat. I need my glasses on. Now, because the nano spinner has a little dimension to it, it's like almost having a pop dot on it or a foam adhesive. I want these ones flat so it doesn't connect with it. So I'm just eyeballing this. I'm going to put that one arm right to the left-hand side. Oh, now I am just eyeballing this. If you need to measure it out to find your center, then do that. I am a team eyeball. All right, so little dots of glue, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one, just kind of keeping it. I didn't center that other one very well. I can see that now. All right, let's just commit. Maybe I should have measured it. Haha, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. I am just going to put that down like this, give it a little pressure to make sure all those little snowflake arms are down. All right. Okay, so there is that. Now we're going to do our little spinner. Now I have this other snowflake, came from the same set. I'm going to offset this so that we have a double spin. I'm wondering, yeah, I'm going to offset them, but I am going to, no, I'm not going to put a pop dot. I'm just going to just offset it, Brent. Sorry, I was just thinking, but then I was like, it's going to be too much dimension. All right, so again, I'm just offsetting this. All right, so easy to do, easy to do. I say easy to do as I'm like, oh no, that's not really easy. It should be this hard. All right, there we go. Okay, so I can actually kind of bend the top arms up a little bit to give it some dimension. As long as they're stuck together, and I just glued them down in the center. All right. You could have put, I guess, a thin foam adhesive there, but the nano spinner has a little bit of dimension to it. I didn't want to have too much. So I'm just bending these up just ever so slightly, just to really give it that two-layered effect. All right, so there is that. All right, now here comes the nano spinner. Now, typically, I would, I'm wondering if I should. Yeah, I might have to. I'm gonna have to put a little piece of paper there because the nano spinner is basically the same size as this hole. It'll have nothing to stick to. So I'm just going to grab a little piece of scrapped cardstock, and I'm just gonna glue that behind that opening, just grabbing from my garbage. All right, so I'm just gonna cut something that's going to be just behind it. Now you don't have to do this for all the time for any. It's just because there's a hole in my center here. So all right, so I'm just going to cut the corners off. We just need something for that nano spinner to. What are the chances that this snowflake is the same? It has the same hole opening as a nano spinner size. All right, so we're just going to stick that behind there. All right, so now we have that center closed. I'm going to be putting a gem on top of this, so no worries there. Okay, now the nano spinner, there is a top and a bottom. All right, the bottom is going to be where this spins. So if you look at this, and I'm not sure if the camera is going to be able to pick up this, there's one side that has got, there's a groove in there. All right, the top is the thicker part of it. The bottom is the narrower part. All right. So I'm going to take the larger spinner here because they work the same way. All right. So you can see there is a narrow part here. All right. And then the wider part. So the narrow part, or this skinnier part there, that's where you're going to adhere it down onto your card. And then this one is where you are going to put your element on, the thicker part. All right. So you can use a liquid glue. You need something that's strong, all right? Glossy accents, glazing glue would be great. I am going to use glue dots, all right? Glue dots will be good. You just have to check your sizing. What do I have here? I have small and small. All right. Let's go with the small then. All right, so I'm just going to use a glue dot here. And these ones are almost a little too big, but we're going to use it anyways. So I am going to just stick that glue dot right behind there. The micro dot probably would be the best for these ones. Oh, my release sheet doesn't want to come off. Okay, let's just pick another one. There we go. Somehow that one was a lot bigger. I think it got stretched out or something. All right. Okay. Okay, that glue dot doesn't want to come off. I'm wondering, one moment. All right. There we go. I just think those ones were exposed or something. I'm not sure what's going on, but all right. I have a glue dot on there, and now I'm going to take the nano spinner, and again, it's going to be the thick side that's going up. All right, so it's going to be on there. So we have that on there, and now I'm going to put a glue dot where I want this nano spinner to stick on. Now, again, you can use a liquid glue like Glossy Accents, something that's going to be super strong. Now, the small glue dots are a little too big for this. I would go with the micro small ones, but for the purposes of this video, we are just going to commit to the small. All right, so we're going to stick that on and take a look at the spinning mechanism on that. How cool is that, right? And it spins. You can see it spins for a while. How freaking cool is that? Now we're going to put a little gem on here. So let me grab my gems. All right. So let's go with, I have, those white ones would be fun. I also have, oh, silver. Let's do a silver one just because we did have silver. Not into gem. We're going to do a pearl. All right. So I'm just going to stick silver pearls now in the center of each of these snowflakes. I did put a spot of glue just because I don't want these falling off, even though they have adhesive on there. All right, so this one now just needs a sentiment, and this one is done. But how fun is this one? All right, let me just put my gems away. And again, there is the spinning action. You can see it spins so well. All right, so you don't really even have to move it. It will move with the card. That's how well these spinners do. Oh my gosh, they're so amazing. How fun is that? Oh my gosh. All right. So that is a nano spinner, and that is good for smaller elements. But we're going to do a bigger element. So I'm going to put that to the side, and we'll come back. I'll show that one to you again. And now we're going to do a floral card because, you know, as much as as much as it's snowing today, I don't like the snow, and I want spring. I want spring. I want the warm weather. So I thought, you know, let's do a nice spring floral card. All right. So again, I'm going to do a shaped card. You know me and my shaped cards. I love them. And the die that I'm using for this one is one that is available. I know that for sure. And I use it all the time because it's such a great floral die. And it is the Vivid Blooms by Spellbinders. All right. So lots of different leaves and florals in there. I love this one. So that's what I'm going to be using. The other one I'm using to create my card base and mats is the Spellbinders Essential Arches. Again, you see me using this over and over again. It's just a real good classic die. So those are the two that I'm using here. Okay, so I basically cut the largest die out of white, and I'm going to do another one. So I'll make a shaped card base. All right, so this is going to be my card front. And then I kind of picked a lovely teal and one that went down a few sizes. All right, so I think it's like 3 or 4, maybe 5 down on there. Now on my base here, we are going to do a little ink blending just to add a little bit more interest. So I would have actually picked peacock feathers, distress ink with that, but I can't locate mine, so I am using Simon Hurley Remember Me. We're going to go with this one here, and we're going to do kind of an ink blend fade. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab my grip mat here, and we're going to start at the bottom. I want that color to come up and just fade into the white. All right. So to do that, we're going to, this is really not the right blue. There's probably too much blue on my, that's okay. All right. We're just going to start at the bottom in rotating motions and build up our color. We want it stronger at the bottom and lighter at the top. All right. So I'm going to load up my brush again and start. And you're just going to slowly bring that up, and we're just doing a lovely fade. All right, we don't want to go all the way top. We want some white. All right, I'm going to go once more. Okay, so I'm going up, but I'm going back and forth as I go up to create an even blend. And again, we want to leave a little bit of white space up there. All right, I think I am happy with that, even though it's not the right color. Now, yeah, I'm not loving this, so let me find a blue that's going to match that a little bit better. So let me just grab my arch. I should have figured that out. Let me see what I got here for scraps. And a blue that's going to be a little bit better than that. Oh, this blue might, will this work? Nope. Will this blue work? Nope. All right, let's see what I got here. Let's get our little color swatch out here. Oh, there's nothing there I really have. Oh, maybe that one. The Malibu, it might be best. Maybe. Was that the color I had? No. Oh, maybe it was. All right, we're going to go with Malibu. Just because. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut this. Please let this be a big enough scrap. It is. Okay, that might be a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's going to be a little bit better. All right, so we'll leave that for another project. All right. Okay, so we're going to build up our floral arrangement on this little panel here, which I think I'm going to just kind of hit the edges with my ink and kind of bring it in the same tone as my background. So I'm not really coloring this. I'm just giving it a little bit of edging just to bring in that same tone as what I did on my background. If I would have had the right ink, it would have been fine, but so that's gonna much better. Much better. Okay, let's start building our florals. Okay, so I'm going to use the bigger spinner on the larger floral here. All right, now I could use a nano spinner, but because it's got such a larger background on here, I can use the bigger one. So we're going to create a little cluster here of florals. It's going to hang off the edge, and that's okay because we're going to pop this panel up. So I'm just going to kind of arrange. My floral is going to be in the center here, and then we're going to have leaves coming out, and then we have this guy here as well. So let's build our florals first. And this is what I love about this set, because there's so much that you can do with it, and lots of different florals. You can mix and match, and just really create a lovely floral cluster. So let's just start putting these together. All right, so there is our flower, and this flower is going to go on this little stem. We're just going, whoop. All right, so there is our first floral. This little stem here, we're going to put the little yellow flowers on there. So I am going to just put dots of glue on those little circular, and then we're going to do the smaller yellow florals on here. All right, and then the centers for these ones here, I just took these little like star-like centers. They're from the same set, and I just did them in a darker yellow, and they're going to go in the centers here. So I am going to use my wax tool here just to place them. All right, so that stem is done. And our last, which is going to be our last floral, the bigger floral, which is going to be in the center, and that's going to be our spinner. I am just picking this little, I lost the center for this floral, so we're just going to do this one here. And we're going to put some gems in the centers of these. All right, so we have everything ready to go. All right, so we're going to glue these all on now. So I'm going to start with this leaf here. And I'm going to have this kind of, it looks really nice against that blue. I might bring that in just a little bit more. Okay, so that one. I'm not worried about what it looks like in the center because that's where my floral is going to be. And then this one here is going to come extend off of here. I don't know if you can hear the wind. Oh my gosh, it's so awful out there. All right, so again, we're going to have it kind of extending off of the little arch here that I have. And then this one here, we're going to have coming out from the bottom. All right, and that is where our floral is going to be in the center. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the excess stems off here. There's just a little bit of bulk here, so I'm just going to trim them off. That one's stuck down, so just so that is not creating excess bulk that I don't need. All right, so there's that. Now we're going to put our floral, and this is going to be the spinning element. All right, so we're going to use a larger one. For this one here, I'm going to go up a size, and I'm going to go to the large adhesive dots. Medium is, medium might be the better size. I don't have medium, so, but we're going to do that. So I am going to put one on the base. These are a little too big. Medium would be better. I probably should have used a small instead of the larger one. Okay, this one here, I'm going to just kind of put in where I want it. All right, so I wanted the center of that, and you can see that how that spins. I don't know, you can hear it. All right, so Woohoo, I'm so excited. All right, now I'm going to take another, actually, you know what? I'm going to take a small one. Not going to fiddle faddle with that large one. Medium would be the best. But all right, and now we're going to put our floral. Now you want to put this pretty centered, all right? So if you had something that was a little asymmetrical, all right? So for it to hang properly, so let's just say you had a stocking, all right, a Christmas stocking. Because the top of the stocking is a little bit more heavy based, you'd want to put that spinner closer to the top so that it would hang down. Because what will happen is, however you put it, if you put it in the center, whatever is the most heavy, whether it be top heavy or bottom heavy, it will cause the spinner to spin and it might be upside down. All right, so just keep that in mind. Because our flower is more or less symmetrical, and there's no really top or bottom heavy issue on here, I can put it right in the center. But just be aware that whatever your element is, again, the snowflake was symmetrical, right? It didn't matter where we put it, but like something that was like a stocking or maybe a seahorse, right? Where the top end would be a little bit more heavier, the tail would be a little bit less. You would want to put that spinner closer to the top, all right? So this is just going to go in the center. Now they do have a lot of dimension, all right? So you will notice that it does stick up quite a bit. So these are not ones that you want to send in the mail unless you want to pay the extra postage. But these are just beautiful little elements that you can put on gift bags, as tags, as hand-delivered cards, and even those specialty projects and such that you create. But look how fun that is, all right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and put this on now. We are going to, I am going to pop this up. Even though there's so much dimension, I am going to pop this up. What I am going to do is use the thinner foam squares though. All right, so let me just grab them. All right, so these are not as dimensional. And we're going to place that behind here. All right. And we're going to center this on. And then I will find a lovely sentiment, and I will find one that's going to kind of fit in this area here. It'll probably cross it there, but then it won't interfere with our spinner. But how fun is that? All right, let me just clean up a little bit, tidy up a little bit. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put gems on here first. One moment. All right, so let's see what we got here. Oh, I got blue gems. Let's do these little blue gems. Sure. All right, so I'm going to put a larger blue gem in the center here. It's going to bring all this blue all together now. All right, and then I think I'm also going to put little gems in the centers here, just because I feel like they need it as well. So this is what I love about the Spellbinders gems, because you get these teeny weeny ones. They're perfect for these tiny flowers. I did put a spot of glue in the center. I always do that with my gems and pearls, even though they're adhesive backed. This way I know they're going to be good and stuck. All right. Oh, so cute. All right, that is done. And like I said, I will find sentiments for both the cards. Let me bring them both back in here. All right, so we've got the nano spinner for the smaller, all right, and those are the little brass ones, or they're stainless steel, but they're brass colored. All right, so those are the nano spinners. And then we have the larger, the regular spinners for the larger elements. All right, so which we used on the floral here. How fun are those? So those are the Dress My Craft spinners. And I know they've been selling like hotcakes. You're all loving them, and now you know how to use them. All right, so let me just come back to full screen here. All right, so that is it for Fun Friday today. I hope you enjoyed today's cards and focusing on the product of the spinners. They are available on our website right now, and we do have more on order. All right, so check them out and have some fun with them. And until next time, everyone, have yourself a creative day, and we'll see you next Friday for Fun Friday.